So let's look at another more advanced word problem where we need to use the Pythagorean theorem. And I copied down the Pythagorean theorem over here, the relationship between the side lengths of a right triangle. So for this problem, and I might mispronounce this, but the Museu Blau in Barcelona, Spain, is a natural science museum built in the shape of a triangular prism. The base of the building is an equilateral triangle, 180 meters on each side. So either the bottom of the building or the top of the building, that could be the base, but that base has 180 meters on each side. And the height of the prism is 25 meters. So it looks like this would be 25 meters tall. And we need to find the height of the triangular base. So essentially, you can imagine this line would go all the way back to this back edge, and that line would be on the bottom of this building. So we're given this picture, and we need to find the height of this equilateral triangle. And since it's an equilateral triangle, we can determine that this triangle here and this triangle here, these are going to be congruent right triangles. Or in other words, this height is going to split the equilateral triangle into two equal triangles. So this height would also be at a right angle. And since we have a right triangle here, we can figure out what h is by using this Pythagorean theorem. And this vertical height here of this equilateral triangle would split this bottom side into two equal pieces. And since the total side is 180, each of these would be length 90. So let's redraw this triangle and use the Pythagorean theorem. So we have this right triangle where we've called the height of this h, and this bottom side is 90, and this long side here, this is 180, and these are all in meters. So we just need to label what a, b, and c are to use our Pythagorean theorem. And we can call this A, we can call this B, or vice versa. But this long side, the hypotenuse, that has to be C. So plugging everything in, we get that A squared, or H squared, plus B squared, which is 90 squared, is equal to C squared, which is 180 squared. So let's just simplify. So H squared plus 90 times 90 is 8,100, and 180 times 180 is 32,400. So now we just subtract 8,100 on each side. So h squared is this minus this. And if we take away 8,000, that brings us to 24,400. And taking away another 100 brings us to 24,300. And at this point, we just need to take a square root of each side. And we're going to round our answer to the nearest tenth of a meter. So h will then approximately be 155.88457, and so on. It's irrational, but we're rounding it to the nearest tenth. So it's 155.88, so we'll round it up to 0.9. And of course, this is in meters. So that would be our final answer for the height of this equilateral triangle.